I want my dear children, welcome all of you to my YouTube channel. Dear children, today we are going to learn about ratio. Do you know what is ratio? Do you remember what is ratio? Ratio means we use the lesson ratio to compare two or more things. But when we write a ratio, you learn something that is important. When we write a ratio, all the units should be equal. I hope you do remember. So now I'm going to describe you about ratio using an exercise. All of you turn to exercise 21.1. By the first question, I'm going to describe you how we are going to write a ratio. How we are going to write in a ratio. But you have to be mindful when you write a ratio, all the units should be equal. Imagine if I compare with you and your friend, your weight and your friend's weight, then we can put those amounts into a ratio. But if I compare with your friend, your friend's height and your weight, can I put that amounts into a ratio? No, we can't, because when we describe a weight, it will be in kilograms. When we describe a height, it will be in meters or centimeters. Therefore, because they are not in the same unit, we cannot put them into a ratio. So you have to be careful on that. Okay, now let us come to exercise 21.1. Now for the first question, they say, write down the ratio for each of the following examples and express it in the simplest form. Here I am going to teach you how to put something in a ratio and how to make it in the simplest form. Okay, now let us see the first question. The number of boys in a class is 20 and the number of girls is 25. So here we can write, first of all we have to write the correct exercise number, that is as exercise 21.1. And for the first question, for Roman number 1, we can write boys and girls. Boys and girls. And we know the number of boys as 20. Therefore we can write 20 in here and number of girls as 25. That is how to represent something in a ratio, because they are in the same unit. Number of children, that is why. Number of boys and number of girls, they are in the same unit, therefore we can write it in the ratio. Now how to make it simple is, now we have to decide a number which can divide both these numbers. Therefore, as you can see on the board, it can be 5. So here we have to divide both sides by 5. 20 divided by 5 and 25 also divide by 5. Then you will receive the answer as 4 to 5 as the simplest ratio. This is known as the simplest ratio. So now I hope all of you have understood how to put something in a ratio and how to make it simplest form. If we move to the second question, Roman number 2, they say in that question the price of a pen is 15 rupees. The price of a pencil is 10 rupees and the price of an eraser is 5 rupees. Here they have mentioned three types in here. Here first one is pen, then we can write the ratio mark and pencil, and an eraser. So we can write their names above and write their amounts below. Here first one is, all they are in rupees, therefore we can write them in a ratio. So first one is 15 rupees, then again 10 rupees, and then 5 rupees. Now, my dear children, all of you have to remember these numbers are terms in a ratio. These numbers are terms in a ratio. Now, we have to decide the highest common factor to divide all these three numbers. Either you can remember that thing easily, the biggest value which can divide these three terms. So here, as you can see, we can divide them by 5. So if I divide 15 by 5, then I can just write the answer without showing the division as 3. Then if I divide 10 by 5, it will be 2, and 5 by 5, it will be 1. So this is our final answer. This is our final answer. Okay, let us do another question. All of you come to Roman number 3 this time. Roman number 3. Here they say that the ingredients for a cake are 1 kilogram of flour, 500 gram of sugar, and 500 gram of margarine. Here they have mentioned flour, then sugar, and margarine. And their amounts as, first one is 1 kilogram. Can we put 1 kilogram into that ratio? Because first one has been described by 1 kilogram, the others are in grams. So first of all, my dear children, we have to convert 1 kilogram into grams. So we can write it as 1000. All of you know that 1 kilogram equals 1000 grams. 1000, then 500, then again 500. Now we can write these terms in the simplest form by dividing by the highest value, which can divide these three terms. So we can divide all these three terms by 500. Now you know that there are two 500 inside of 1000, and 1 and again 1. So therefore our answer is 2 to 1 to 1. So it's easy, as you can see. Now if we move on to the fourth question. For the fourth question, they say that the price of a mandarin is P rupees. The price of an orange is Q rupees. And the price of an apple is R rupees. Now, can we put these things into a ratio? Of course we can, because all of them are mentioned in rupees. Even they have mentioned amounts in simple letters. Because they have mentioned in rupees, we can put them into a ratio. So therefore, I'm going to write their names: mandarin, and to the ratio is orange, and apple. Now we can write the amount as P, Q, and R. Now as you can see, my dear children, even they are in the simple English letters, because they are in rupees, we can put them into a ratio. Now I'm going to teach you equivalent ratios again using the same exercise. Exercise 21.1. And I'm going to use the second question to describe that. Here they say that for each of the following ratios, write down two equivalent ratios. Okay, let us consider the first one, 2 to 3. To write an equivalent ratio to this one, you have to decide a number and multiply both these terms by that number. So here I'm going to multiply these two terms by 2. So I can write it as 2 into 2 and 3 into 2. So here I will get an equivalent ratio as 4 to 6. 4 to 6. So I can do the same thing again in here. 2 to 3. 2 to 3. I can multiply both these two terms by multiplying by 3. Then 2 into 3 and 3 into 3. So here I will get an answer as 6 to 9. 6 to 9. So my dear children, as you can see, when we write an equivalent ratio, you just have to do a very simple thing. Here we have to decide a number and multiply all the terms by that number. Now consider about these two numbers. To make an equivalent ratio for these, either we can multiply these two terms by a number, and there is another method. We can divide these two terms by a number. Here, if we decide a number to divide these two terms, we can divide these two terms by 3. Therefore, I'm going to write 12 divided by 3 and 18 divided by 3. Then when I divide 12 by 3, I will receive the answer as 4. Then when I divide 18 by 3, then I will receive the answer as 6. So here, this is an equivalent ratio to the previous one. Here I can divide these two terms again by 6. So if I divide 12 by 6 and 18 by 6, then I will receive an answer like when I divide 12 by 6, it will be 2. Then when I divide 18 by 6, it will be 3. Here, so there is another method to make equivalent ratios, that is to divide. So my dear children, keep this in your mind. We can make equivalent ratios by multiplying the terms by a certain number, either divide all the terms by a certain number. So keep that in your mind. And here, look at this one. This is special. Here, I have made this 12 and 18 into 2 and 3. We cannot divide it furthermore. Therefore, we say they making these two terms in the simplest form. If we divide these two terms by the highest common factor, then we will receive it in the simplest form. So making these terms into the simplest form means again an equivalent ratio. So keep that thing in your mind. Okay, there are some more in this lesson. So let us meet you in the new video. I want all of you.